This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
Welcome back. With summer in full swing, many of you are heading for vacation. Your kids have more free time and maybe out and about. And of course, temperatures are heating up. So to ensure everyone stays safe this summer, we have Chief Jim Hughes from the Kirksville Police Department to share some basic and very important summer safety tips. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Well, first of all, so we know kids are out of school. They might be out and about in their neighborhoods, going to the parks and stuff like that. We might see them out on the roads with their bikes.
Right.
So how can we ensure that our child is safe from point A to point B?
Well, here's what we always talk about at the start of the school year. Start of the school year, we emphasize very heavily that the kids are excited. They're not paying attention to cars. They see people they haven't seen for a while. They're out. They're just enjoying being kids.
Yeah.
And it's incumbent on everybody else, the adults that are out there who are driving, to pay extra special attention around the schools during school time. But the difficulty in that is it's actually citywide during the summer. They're all out, they're excited, they're running over to their friends' houses, they see their friends ride by on bicycles, and they're just not thinking. And so people really just need to be careful, give it some extra time, slow down, and just be aware that it's our responsibility. The children haven't learned yet the impact that a poor decision might make, and it's the last thing that they're thinking about. And so it's just incumbent upon everybody to kind of look out for everybody else. I mean, the old phrase, it takes a village. I mean, it really does. It takes a village to keep a child safe, is what it does. And you mentioned bicycles. One of the things that we stress certainly is teaching your child bicycle safety, but it's wearing a properly fitted, not just a helmet, but a properly fitted helmet will really go a long ways in keeping them safe. And not only for bicycles, but all the other wheeled type
skateboards, scooters,
all of that.
All right, now let's talk about internet safety. I know that a lot of people, kids, have Instagram accounts, Facebook accounts, and of course their parents might be at work, so they're not monitoring their online activity. What are some tips that you can share to ensure that our children aren't talking to predators or aren't posting stuff they shouldn't be posting and stuff like that?
Well, first they just have to accept the fact that when their child is on without direct supervision, they're going to be exposed to people who might want to take advantage of them. Just accept that. No child is special in that regard, even if they're not intending, which most of them are not, to get to a certain point. There are people out there that are really good at finding children who are online, picking up on the little nuances where somebody might be by themselves, unsupervised, and so they're very, very good. And unfortunately, I think you've had some of our people on from the Computer Crimes Unit. Unfortunately, when we make an arrest or do an investigation, we'll find hundreds of contacts that one pedophile will have with their child. So one of the basic things is just to monitor their activities, and especially if they're unsupervised when they otherwise might be supervised. It's just the internet is not safe. There's a lot of things that can happen other than just people knocking on your door, which can happen.
Right.
We've had a number of cases here in Kirksville where we call them travelers, where people will initially make contact on the computer and then slowly extract a little bit more information from the person, a little bit more, and find out where they live or where they play, where they go to school, where they go swimming, and then they'll show up. And so that's really scary. But there's also other kinds of exposures that are almost as dangerous, even without that face-to-face contact. So what the parents need to do is just be aware. There's nothing wrong with keeping track of what's happening on the computer, coming in, checking, especially with the smaller children, checking what exactly the child has been doing that day on the computer. Certainly talking to them about safety. In the old days, in my days, it was stranger danger.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about the computer. And so basically it's a stranger danger type of conversation that you have with your child, but with the electronic social media as your focal point, as opposed just to being out in the neighborhood. But we also don't want to forget the old-fashioned stranger danger in the neighborhoods
that
either.
Still happens.
So absolutely it does.
All right, now let's go ahead and talk about the rising temperatures. Of course, it's starting to get hotter and hotter, and we know and we emphasize, even if you have AC on, don't leave your kids in, the car if you're running into the grocery store or even to a convenience store, but also pets.
Absolutely.
I mean, we had an incident last night where somebody emailed us and said that they observed a dog locked in a car for 15 minutes
Right.
before the owner came back out.
Right.
And I mean, it was 85, 90 degrees yesterday.
Right. Well, when I came in today, the thermometer on the car, I mean, this is a beautiful morning, said it was 76. If you're at 78 degrees in full sunlight, you can be up to 160 degrees in your car in minutes.
Wow.
You can get temperatures depending on the interior of your car, the tint on your windows. You can be experiencing conditions inside your car of over 200 degrees. Think about that,
Wow.
200 degrees inside your car. So it works for pets and it also works for children as well. Just don't leave them in the cars. Just don't. Everybody says, well, I had the air conditioner on. You mentioned that. But a lot of things can happen. Air conditioners can stop. Cars can overheat. There's a lot of electronic gizmos inside cars anymore, and they start to overheat. Sometimes they do funny things, and they'll shut down pieces of equipment. So you may be inside thinking your air conditioner is running, and it's not. And so your car running actually may make it worse because you get the heat from the engine and everything else like that. Dogs, children, they have a tendency, they're cute little stories when you see them reported on the news where a puppy locks their owner out of a car.
Yeah.
But it's not so cute
When something seriously
something seriously
happens,
happens. So leaving them in the car with the air conditioner on is just a recipe for disaster, as is everything else, because you think that they're safe. You think you have taken care of it. You think you have done due diligence or whatever you want
Right.
to call it, and you haven't. You may even have made it worse. And here's one thing I tell people all the time. There's a lot of really good Samaritans out there, people who really care, people who contacted you. They contact us all the time. We get calls on a regular basis. So if you come outside and some passerby's broken out your window to pull your dog or your child out, I mean, you can't really get mad at them because they don't know how long you've been in there.
Right.
All they see is the child maybe is asleep but looks unresponsive, won't wake up. And so if you wait, sometimes, we're not encouraging this by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes if you think the situation is so grave that you can't wait for emergency people to arrive, people do fairly regularly take action on their own, and you can't be mad at people if you come out and you find your window broken, and your pet in somebody's arms or your child being looked after, by a police officer or a paramedic.
And finally, 4th of July is right around the corner. We see firework tents and stores popping up left and right. So really quickly, let's talk about firework safety and the ordinance of when we can shoot fireworks and when we can't.
We'll probably do the ordinance more, and then if we
Okay.
have some time, we'll work into the safety piece because there are some confusion. You can start selling fireworks on the 20th, but you can't use them till the 30th, and so that confuses some people, especially if they're new to town. They think I can buy them, we can shoot them. Well, that's not the case. You can't shoot them until the 30th, and you can shoot them through July the 5th. Also, the hours are limited. It's from 9 in the morning till 11 o'clock in the evening. It's on your own property or property that you have permission on. It's not in the streets. It's not public property, anything related to that. And here's the great thing. When my wife and I first got here, we absolutely thoroughly enjoyed the 4th of July. I mean, it's a great event here in Kirksville. We came from a state most recently where you couldn't even shoot fireworks. And so it was really enjoyable for us. And we thought, what an incredible privilege to be able to do that in the city, but it's also an incredible responsibility, too. So the ordinance that allows you to shoot fireworks inside the city limits has a little caveat in it that says you can shoot them. However, if somebody files a complaint that you are disrupting basically their enjoyment of their home, they're not able to carry out their lives because of what it is you're doing, then unfortunately, if we come out and we verify that that is in fact happening, then you have to stop. And so it's not an absolute right. So everybody just needs to be careful. It doesn't hurt to knock on the neighbors' doors and just tell them what's going on, just touch base and everything related to that. But it's a great time. Just be careful. Make sure you end up with all your fingers and toes. Let's make sure we don't burn down any property.
Make sure to have buckets of water handy.
Have water handy, and bucket loads of supervision for the children.
Yes.
And so it's a great time. I love this time of the year. But with it, unfortunately, every year there are incidents where things don't turn out very well.
So just be careful and
Absolutely.
cautious. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chief. What
Thank
we'll do
you.
is we'll post everything on our website at heartlandconnection.com, and we'll also link up the Kirksville Police Department's website as well. We'll be right back.